So welcome along to A Story to Tell with me, Richard Beauvoisin. This is mainly taken from my Radio Bath show every Thursday morning from 10 until 12. If you do like it, don't forget to subscribe, share it to others and let everyone know all about Radio Bath. Hope you enjoy it. Good morning everybody, so it's Richard Beauvoisin here right until midday today. There's Oasis and Sun Might Shade. Right, my guest today is a chap called David James. He's sat opposite me now in his branded kit, which we're going to be talking about much more as we go on. He was a director at Bath City Football Club, lots of different bits and pieces as well. We're going to be chatting between 10 and 12 today. Really looking forward to it. If you have any questions for him, it's studio@radiobath.com, or you can text Bath followed by a message to 80011. There's not enough wows going on in the world today. Good morning, everybody. It's Richard Beauvoisin here, right until midday today. My guest today is Dave James. Good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I was just cycling here and enjoying the Bath sunshine this morning.
It's nice, isn't it? And you've got an electric bike, haven't you?
Oh, come on. You've let that out of the bag already.
I have already. I'm sorry.
That's disgraceful of you.
It's not. You're still cycling. I drove.
Well, the trouble with Bath is it's very hilly. And at my age, I can't be bothered to go through the pain barrier. So the electric is kind of a boost for me, and probably wouldn't cycle without it.
You still have to pedal though, don't you?
You do. You see some of these electric bikes where you don't see people pedalling, and they're motorbikes really, without calling them motorbikes. So I certainly don't ride one of those. I think those are kind of very much cheating. But you do pedal. And going up, whether it's North Road or going up Lansdowne Road, it's needed.
It's challenging. Bath is quite hilly.
There's one or two hills either side of, every side of Bath. So I would highly recommend getting an electric bike. It's probably the best purchase I've made in years.
Now, you chose that first track. Why did you choose T-Rex then?
Well, I'm an idiot. It just takes me back to a time when I think the 70s and 80s were the best period. I mean, I know that's 20 years, but some of the 70s music just takes you back, and you just drift back, and it seemed a simpler time, a simpler era. And, no social media. Wow. Can you imagine that?
It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah,
it is to me.
Not even mobile phones or anything, so...
Yeah, well, that was about 2007, wasn't it, when the iPhone came out and changed the world.
It did indeed. The 80s, I love the 80s. Parts of the 80s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I was
some bad memories there.
I was born in 74, and I was really into my music.
Yeah.
So the 80s is definitely partly my era as well.
Sure.
But there is some awful music in the 80s as well. There's some awfully good stuff, but some awful.
It's funny you only remember the nice bits, don't you?
Yeah.
The dramatic bits are the nice bits. It takes you back to whether you were watching a football game or whatever it was. You don't remember the bits that... were pretty grimy and pretty grim in some of the 70s and 80s, weren't they? Without a doubt.
I'm thinking the great things about the 1980s are Madonna, Prince, Michael Jackson, but alongside that you had Stock Aitken and Waterman as well.
Well,
and that's kind of the other side of it.
We'll say no more.
Anyway, are you ready for your Desert Island Discs intro then?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so here we go. My guest today has worn many hats and made a real mark on Bath. He's been a director at Bath City Football Club, the city's tourism manager, and more recently the founder of Life in the Old Dogs, a project helping older people stay active and engaged. Along the way, he's carried lessons from Life Up North. That's my terrible accent, by the way. From the football terraces and from one of the UK's most historic cities. I'm delighted to welcome David James.
Oh, well, there you go. Can I leave now?
No, you can't. We've got 2 hours yet.
Oh my God.
Was that accurate enough?
For listeners. Yeah, well, I suppose so. It depends where you want to start, really, but definitely a northerner, born in Lancashire, funny enough, and right opposite the grand old place of the Latics, Oldham Athletic.
Okay.
So Boundary Park Hospital overlooked the ground, would you believe? So brought up as a Lancastrian, moved to Yorkshire, where, of course, in those days you had to be a Yorkshireman to play for Yorkshire cricket.
Yeah.
And funny that, because my brother used to play for Yorkshire schoolboys, but given that he was Lancastrian, we never sort of let that out of the bag.
Okay.
So, yeah, very much a northerner. And then went off to, like most people do, to university. still stayed up north. Went up to a little place called Preston, which is now I think it's called the University of Central Lancashire. They give them these posh names. It was just a polytechnic when I was there, and I only went because I couldn't get a job or a job that I thought was decent. So been around a bit. And then decided to go over to America for 3 years, lived out there in the States.
So what did you do out in America then? And what took you out there?
Funny enough, given that I really wasn't that interested in going to university, I kind of enjoyed it when I got there.
Okay.
I didn't do much studying, but I played a lot of sport. So I thought, I could continue this. And applied for a scholarship to university in the States, just outside of Philly. And had a couple of years there, just tinkering around, doing more academic stuff, and then stayed and worked for a year. So I did a master's degree in sports management.
Right.
And it's just an excuse to stay on and be a student, doing very little other than playing sport. But at that age, it seemed very important and central to your life.
Now, we're going to talk about life in the Old Dogs later on.
Yeah.
But when we were talking via text, you said you love sports, but you're not good at any of them.
It's a bit of a lie. I was pretty good at football, at soccer, as the Americans say, football. I played for the British universities.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a semi-pro, if you like. Played against quite a few pro teams in that journey. And then you kind of realise, well, you're just not quite good enough to make from that jump from semi-pro to pro level. And in that era of the 70s, there wasn't a lot of future. You played football for 10 years, then you bought a pub or a sports shop or something. The money in it now is a different stratosphere.
Yeah.
So there really wasn't the incentive to think, well, I'm really going to make this worthwhile. You were thinking of your career in the background all the time.
So I'm trying to figure out which position you would play.
Go on,
so
then. You'd be surprised, actually, in a minute.
You're a similar-ish height to me, slightly taller. And for those that aren't aware, I'm 7'2", stroke 5'9".
In his heels.
Yeah. I do wear those only on Sundays.
I said to keep it a secret as well.
Yeah, I know, but now you've let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, I'm trying to work out what... Yeah, I mean, I reckon you could literally have played any position, because I've played every position in football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of thinking... I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. I can normally pick it out, but I don't know. Where did you used to play them?
I ask a lot of people that. Well, in the era I played, of course, the sort of centre forwards and centre halves used to be quite
big,
robust. Yeah, they'd be thugs really. The centre half would be a thug, and the centre forward would just be big, built like Alan Shearer, big legs, big everything really, big body. I was surprisingly, I was a centre half.
Okay.
And a lot of my managers go, well, you're probably the most cultured centre half around, because I didn't really enjoy kicking the what's out of people.
Yeah.
So I played more of a sweeper type role, and just marshal at the back, as I would call it. Not a lot of physical. I didn't. You'd have somebody playing alongside you who'd be the enforcer.
Yeah.
So I was more of a cultured player. But in those days, it was unusual. It was built for bullies in those days. The pitches alone were just built for bullies. Yeah.
They were just cow patches.
Oh, incredible.
I always remember saying we will come away from football in a minute.
Yeah.
For everybody that's not interested in football. But I remember saying, I think it was back in the 90s or the early 2000s, I remember turning around to my dad and saying, the difference between European football and British football is the centre halves would get the ball and pass it to a midfielder.
Sure.
And then the midfielder would do whatever they were going to do in the British game. But that meant that we were one player less than the opposition. Whereas what the opposition had, the European teams, is their centre halves would be skillful enough that they would be the ones that were doing the passes. So basically, you were just ahead of your time.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at the Frank Beckenbauers of this world. If you think of a European footballer who was a centre half, but really a kind of a midfield general as well as a centre back. But we had Bobby Moore, of course, who could do that sort of stuff. So there were exceptionals, but on the whole, when you look back at the pitches, if you look at the old Derby ground, the baseball ground, I think it had a blade of grass around about February time.
Yeah,
it was just a mud pitch, and you can't play good football. And the Continentals had good grounds.
Yeah.
So they were always more skillful because they had better grounds where you could actually control the ball without it going into a mud pile.
Yeah. Now, I had the pleasure of watching the 1966 World Cup final. Oh, yeah. I was obviously not there live, via TV and the colour rendition of it. And there's one bit in there talking about Bobby Moore that I'd never seen before until fairly recently. I don't know if you know the famous last goal.
Yeah.
I think it's all over it is now.
Jeff Hurst goal.
Yeah. Okay. Have you watched the previous few minutes to that?
Probably not, actually. Go on, surprise me.
There is a moment where Germany are attacking, and the ball goes into the penalty area. And bear in mind, this is the last seconds of extra time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Bobby Moore just gets the ball, and he just is the calmest person in the world and just passes it out. And then there's the long ball forwards and all of that. But the bit before it, that's the quality bit.
Oh, we don't see that on the TV.
No, you don't see it.
The sound bites have got to be about 30 seconds, haven't they? So that would probably added another 15 seconds. He was a very calm footballer.
He was amazing.
And for his era, very different.
Yeah.
Which is why he played so well. And he played for the Hammers. I mean, what's that about?
That is, for those who aren't aware, West Ham United.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That's all
let's get off football. We're sending people to sleep.
That's okay. We're going to come back after a little break of music. You've chosen the next track as well, Simple Minds, Someone Somewhere. Why this one?
Going back to the 80s again. I don't know. I just drift back to the 80s and listened to some of the music and thought it was just really, I don't know, they had tunes and lyrics that I used to enjoy, and maybe I'm too old to appreciate the younger music these days, but I love this song.
It's brilliant. Can't wait. Right, we're going to come back with David very shortly. Back for the second part then with David James. He's been in tourism, Bath FC and life in the old dogs. But first of all, we're going to talk about your life. And I have to do my impression. I'm so sorry.
No.
It literally, I'm inspired by Geoffrey Boycott. Okay, that's my inspiration when I do my Up North.
Saw him play many times.
Yeah, and fell asleep many times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In county games, that's for sure.
But we're going to talk about your life up north first of all. So obviously you are a northerner.
Aye.
What did you do up north then?
What did I do up north? Well, I grew up there, I suppose, and the usual stuff. Went to school and didn't particularly enjoy it, other than the sports. Wasn't academic at all. Drifted through life. Just wanted to play sports, and that ends up drifting into university. Stayed up north, and then you end up realising you've got to get a job. So, I started work up in Sheffield for a company called Sheffield International Venues, which sounds a little bit exotic, but we ran Sheffield Arena, what was at the time Don Valley Stadium, where all the athletic meets were held up there. We ran a few other centres that were a little bit smaller, but essentially it was entertainment and sport. But the entertainment of Sheffield Arena was at the high level.
Yeah.
We had corporate hospitality boxes and ice arenas and all that sort of gig. So it was a bit of a mixture between entertainment, top-level elite sport, and then community stuff.
Okay.
So it was a nice overall mix of lots of different activities.
Now, in the green room, we joke when we call it the green room, i.e. the office outside, but we like to call it the green room. You were telling me about being kind of doing something different.
Well, yeah, the green room. Yeah, I've certainly had some experiences dealing with people in the green room. I remember Bon Jovi playing at Don Valley Stadium once, which was about 50,000 people watching them, and in his great big American bodyguards. We used to call them no-necks because these guys were just huge blokes, and we were all backstage doing what we do, just and looking after corporate clients or looking after the general maintenance when you've got 50,000 people on. And these big American guys, the dudes, came out and goes, nobody look at John when he comes out, coming out the green room. And, you've got about, I don't know, 20-odd Sheffield lads there, from plumbers to joiners to just general maintenance type job, caterers, catering staff, etc. And everybody's looking at each other and going, what did he just... What's all that about? Anyway, John Bon Jovi comes out of the dressing room with his entourage, with his the rest of the band. And literally, it's kind of one of the funniest things I remember. Literally, a lot of the working staff there just dropped what they were doing and went, all right, John, how's it going? Ooh, those pants are a bit tight, and by God, you're sexy. And you know, you got these security guards just looking at it. It wasn't just one person saying it; it was about 20 people. And John Bon Jovi hadn't got a clue what was going on. He was just looking around and going, "What on earth is going on?" But yeah, it was kind of, the lesson was, don't really go out of your way to upset a Sheffield guy, because they're salt of the earth, and they'll have a bite back. And they did.
The one thing which I found, I've had the pleasure of interviewing a number of famous people on this show over the years. And the one thing I've found out is that, to a large degree, they're all really normal people.
Yeah, I think probably the worst diva that we had was Whitney Houston.
Okay,
and you know, she wouldn't come on stage till the heat was a certain temperature, and when you got 12,000 people in Sheffield Arena trying to get the heat up, then you know that's kind of difficult to change the heat within 10 minutes. So she was very much a diva. But I think you're right. Generally, I mean, I used to go into the green room to get the book signed for. We'd have a guest book to get all the acts to sign, and I would say 95% of them are quite happy to do that, and almost thank you for having them. It's great to have you. So yeah, you're right. I think the normal people have just got a gift, and that gift can be, you know, singing. It can be a musician, whatever it is. But generally speaking, the normal human beings. They
are normal human beings, and yeah, I found that I've certainly just felt I can chat to them like a normal person. However, somebody said to me recently, that's okay for you, Richard, because I'm on stage quite a lot every week. I do a radio show, and apparently I'm not normal myself. So apparently they're normal to me because I'm also on stage. So therefore, that's why I feel like they are quite normal people.
You take people as you find them, don't you? And as I said to you earlier, it's particularly up north. I mean, there is what we know is what I call the Sheffield war cry. And
yeah, tell me about this. You said about it, and I was like, I have no idea what that is.
Well, the Sheffield war cry is. I used to run the marketing and sales team, and in those days you'd get people phoning up on newspapers trying to sell you a bit of a space in one of their newspapers on a Friday afternoon, and you'd hear all my staff going, "How much?" And so yeah, the Sheffield war cry became, when people ask, "Oh, how much is that going to cost?" and they go, "How much? Are you taking a mick?" So yeah, the Sheffield war cry became that, and it was quite hilarious when people were in the office saying that 4 or 5 times in the space of 10 minutes.
And that's all you'd hear people saying.
Just about.
And for those, I know I sound like the Queen's English now. For the translation for the Southerners out there, it was how much.
Yeah, how much are you asking for?
Yes.
Whereas our response would be, how much?
How
are you
much?
Taking a mick? Or something close to that. I can't say too much on live radio.
So you're up in tourism as well up north, I believe.
I moved from entertainment, and I was head of sales and marketing within the Sheffield unit, and then Nottingham Arena opened, and I went to be one of the group sales and marketing director at Nottingham Arena, and opened that. And then from that, I moved from entertainment and sport, if you like, into tourism, and stayed up in the Peak District, and was chief exec of the Peak District Tourist Board for about, what was it? It was, too many years. It was over 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
Probably spent 4 or 5 years there, too many years before I shot down here to Bath.
So we'll talk about Bath in the next part, but kind of what was it like being up north tourism compared to being down south tourism?
I think the biggest difference is there's a certain element of complacency in places like Bath, because people have been coming here for so long. It's very easy just to assume that people know where Bath is, what it stands for, and what you can do here. So I found that as a bit alarming when I first arrived. And when you haven't got that sort of pedigree, the Peak District isn't unknown, but it's not as popular as the Lake District, and certainly for walking as Scotland. So it's very competitive. So we had to try pretty hard, and there was no complacency. It was very much about we'll do anything to get some decent coverage. We'll run campaigns that are creative and very, very important to us. Yeah, and I think it was the biggest difference was when I came down here. It was the general attitude was very different.
Yeah, I mean, I always joke about the fact that, and I'm going to try and say this, it might be stereotypical, but Northerners are generally seen as being much friendlier, but with a hard undercore, and hard working, and where Southerners are a little bit softer. I'm going to go down that route.
It's probably the accent that puts you off. It sounds a bit harsher up north, and because we don't, we lose the word "the" every now and again, and so it sounds a little bit harsher. I have to say, when I came to Bath, my expectations were it'd be full of really pompous people, posh people, and pompous people don't usually engage with you. And I found the complete opposite.
Yeah,
I found people incredibly interesting. There's the eclectic careers and people that you meet in Bath is astonishing, and just so friendly. And that came as an absolutely genuine surprise to me. And maybe preconceptions are, Bath is posh. It did amuse me when I went to the first rugby game and heard "Come on, you Bath," which sounds very posh to us Northerners, because we'd never do that. It'd be, "Hey up Bath, what's that doing?" So that was kind of interesting. But it was a great experience going to the Rec, and my love of sport continued, and clearly went down to Twerton Park and had a look what they were doing as well, and thoroughly enjoy watching the guys at Twerton. Great.
And we'll come on to that a little bit later. But what brought you from up north to down south?
Well, it was a phone call from a recruitment company who said there's only so many big tourism brands in the UK. There's probably about 20 brands. And the recruitment company phoned me and said, would you be interested in looking at the chief exec role at Bath Tourism? And I said, no, not really. No, I'm quite happy where I am. And then went back and told my wife. It was the second call within about 2 weeks that I had somebody phoning me would you be interested in a particular role? And my wife said, Bath, like everybody does. Bath, it's lovely. What do you mean you said no? And I said, oh, really? So luckily I'd taken the recruitment guy's telephone number, called him back and said, when I said I wasn't interested yesterday, I said, apparently I am.
My wife says I am.
Yeah, exactly. He went, you better do better than that.
So, and that brought you then back down to Bath?
Yeah, I said I'd come down and meet with the chairman, because if you don't get on with the chairman, then it's not really going to go, not going to fly. So I came down and just met with the chairman as a sort of informal meet, and thought, well, yeah, of course it's a lovely city. I mean, it's harder to find a more beautiful, aesthetically beautiful city. I do get concerned that there's a lot of litter around in the city, which you don't see in places like York and various places like Cambridge, which are competitors to Bath. But essentially, I think Bath is probably the crown of the jewel in the UK as a walkable city, which is safe and got a lot to offer. Well,
we're going to find out lots more about your time in Bath. You've chosen the next track as well, The Whole of the Moon. Why this one?
Why this one? Again, it's just like the lyrics. It reminds me of playing football in the 80s and after the game sitting in the bar listening to this, and fond memories of this song, and just love it.
It's a great song. It's the Waterboys. Back with David right after this.
You saw the
Haven't heard that song for years. It's The Whole of the Moon and the Waterboys. So on the story to tell, it's Richard Beauvoisin, and David James is my guest today. He's from up north.
Hey up.
However, there we go, the song's finished. Thank you for that.
That was a quick ending.
That was a very quick ending, wasn't it? All of a sudden it just stopped. But there we go. And we've now got to the part of your story where you've ended up in Bath, or Barth.
Yeah,
Bath.
depends who you ask. Yeah.
So you ended up being. So is it tourism manager? Is that Visit Bath as well? Is that one of the same place?
It's called, at the time it was called Visit Bath, and it's merged now with the operation in Bristol, so it's Visit West, but the brand of Bath, which is a international tourism brand, that exists, but it's run primarily out of Bristol.
Yeah. So what was kind of your role, and what was kind of what you had to do when you came down there?
I was chief exec, so a typical sort of marketing agency really on behalf of the city, funded partly by the Bains, or Bath City, you can't call them City Council, can you, but Bains, partly funded by membership subscriptions, and we ran a commercial operation, which was the biggest difference for me, which was running the Bath Christmas Market. So I've never run, although my background was events, and I'd run probably more events than most people have had hot meals in the past. We used to put on about 130 events at the arena and various other events in our other venues. So heavily experienced in major events.
Yeah.
And then came along to Bath and was running the tourist board with the marketing team, the usual sort of operation that you've got. There was 32 staff. We ran a tourist information centre, which of course has now been closed. It's quite a big operation, but the uniqueness about the city tourism was not the city, but Baines Tourism, was the fact that it ran a Christmas market.
So this is the Christmas market. For those that aren't aware, there are a lot of stalls, and it kind of takes over the south part of the city for quite some time, doesn't it?
I mean, people call them the event with sheds, 160 sheds, if you like, if that's what you want to call them. But we'd call them catering units that were put together in a format that people could walk around the city. And in the time, we used to put entertainment on, various activities that were, employ a lot of actors to go around and do stuff, engage with the colleges for them to come in and get involved. And it's a huge operation. We used to attract about 18,000 people a day to those. It was like a Bath City home game every day. Of course, the weekends would be busier. But an enormous amount of people that come in to see the Christmas market. And of course, it was probably one of the most controversial things that I got involved with in the city, because it has that Marmite effect where people either love it and say, oh, God, it makes the city so beautiful and festive and brings in people. Clearly a lot of people from Cardiff and from Wales, but irrespective of where people come in from, people bring money and people spend money. So that was a good thing for the city.
So why didn't people like it then?
Well, but I think people are very naive about a lot of things. There's Christmas markets up and down the world now that bring a lot of great experiences for people, but I think the primary disagreement was that too many people, it attracted too many people in a short period of time, and the city didn't feel like it belonged to the Bathonians, and I would argue that every day, because there's boatloads of people coming in. Sorry, wrong word, isn't it, these days?
There are a lot of people.
Coach loads of people coming in.
Now, I remember doing, so I run a dance business, and we used to do what we call busks in the centre of town.
Sure, yeah.
So we'd be doing dancing and handing out leaflets. And I remember on one occasion, we actually asked everybody where they were from when we were handing out the leaflets. And we handed out about 3,000 leaflets on this day,
right,
of which 30 of them were local people. Well, everyone else was just a tourist.
Well, it depends where in the city you'd stand. If you stand outside the
it was at the
Roman
top
Baths,
part, outside, up near Bath in the triangle bit, up near Gap, where Gap used to be. Yeah. French Connection sort of end.
Yeah, so that's Southgate, where the newer end of town.
No, the top end of town. So
top end of town.
Top
right,
end
okay,
of town,
Milson Street up
yes,
there.
Up that sort of area.
Yeah.
The little triangle bit, you see a busker up there quite often.
No doubt about it. 80% of people that come to Bath are domestic visitors. You would think they were all Chinese and Japanese or coming from overseas. They're coming in the city generally for about 2 hours, because they'll have gone to Stonehenge coming out of London.
Yeah.
It used to be a half an hour experience. It's now a 2 hour experience, which is painful. They find their way into Bath, usually go around the Roman Mass and then get on a bus and go to the circus and the Royal Crescent for their photo and then go. So if you talk to a lot of people during those hours, then there will be a lot of overseas visitors. If you speak to people on a weekend when there's less tours, then there are going to be people staying over. So you might meet Americans and Chinese, Japanese, you name it. It's very diverse mix of tourists that come into Bath, quite obviously for the history and the beautiful things that you see in the city.
Yeah, I mean, I have the pleasure of holding an event at the Bath Guildhall every year.
Fantastic.
Upstairs and downstairs.
Incredible
and
venue.
it's brilliant. I remember the first time walking in there and seeing the chandeliers and it was an amazing venue. I now walk in there. I've been in there so many times, I don't even notice it.
No, it's true, isn't it? And yet look at the history of that. When it was used during Jane Austen times and the festival that's just been on last weekend turns the city into just an incredibly different sort of vibe to it. The rugby has one vibe, Jane Austen has another. We should do more events, and that was my background. And it's really hard to do events in Bath. There's a lot of hurdles that the bureaucrats put out in front of you to bring events to Bath, and it's a shame really, because we should do more.
So I was going to ask you, how do you Bath has such a lot of history, how do you keep Bath fresh?
Well, a lot of it, people are coming for that history, so that's the uniqueness, because Bath has that and other cities don't have it, so you don't sort of decry that. I think what events do is it brings new people in for a different reason. So whether it's, I'm a great fan of the festivals. The Bath festivals do a fantastic job. The Bath Bid guys, they put a lot of effort into promoting the city and putting events on, so an awful lot of time for the Bid. That's the Bath Business Improvement District.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that, because I had no idea what
sorry,
that was.
You do. We all talk in acronyms, don't we?
We do.
Albeit that it's probably about 10 years since I was involved in the city and its events and things going on. But yeah, it's. I think it's still a wonderful city. We could do more, and there are things I would certainly do differently to what's happening at the moment. But you can't have utopia. It doesn't exist yet. I haven't found it.
So when were you the chief exec then?
Oh, put me on the spot, will you? I think it was 2015 I came and finished in 2019.
Okay.
So I did about nearly 5 years, 4 years.
Just before COVID then?
Yeah, it was left just before. The timing was excellent, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was a good time.
It was a grim time.
If you were looking back then, what would you have liked to have done slightly differently?
I think Bath does. It's a great product, no doubt about it. It's a great product, but you're always looking to expand. You're always looking to do different things. Otherwise, if you stay as a single entity and do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Yeah.
So to me, events were an essential part of that, and there were several events that there's still events that we could put on. I think that would on top of the Jane Austen Festival and the other festivals that take place. Yeah, it's. I think we could. The half marathon is a good example, really, isn't it? As a really good event that brings something different to the city and it involves sport, which clearly I'm interested in that. I've done the half marathon once, so we'll be doing it again.
Was it not for you?
As I call myself a sportsman, I don't like running for the sake of running. I don't mind chasing a ball, but just running around a street, it's nothing to think about other than pain.
Yeah,
so I apologise to all you runners out there.
Do you know, I was seeing somebody on the trip in this morning. I was looking at a runner and going, that just looks really boring. But I know a lot of runners listen to podcasts and that type of thing to make it easier. Yeah. I have to say, I find running equally quite dull.
Yeah.
Never been a great runner. I do swimming as much as I can, but equally that's quite boring. So I've now managed to find some headphones I can listen to while swimming, and that means it's interesting.
I didn't know that. That must be quite weird.
They use the bone density part, so it goes not in your ears, but actually using the bones to listen to it. So I can actually listen to a podcast. I think
swimming is so underrated. It's a life-saving activity. We've got a great pool down at the Bath Sports Centre. They're great guys down there. So, it can be a bit tedious, but running, it damages your joints. It hurts you. Swimming, it's just got no downside to it other than you get wet. And you have to get dry afterwards, but other than that, it's a wonderful sport.
Now, I know, because I'm a British resident, and I know there's loads and loads of the UK that I've never been to that I should go to.
Right.
I live in Trowbridge, so not too far from Bath, and there's lots of Bath that I've been to, but equally haven't been to.
Yeah.
As part of your role as chief exec, is there any part of Bath you haven't been to then that you think, I wish I'd have gone there?
No, I don't think so. I think I've seen just about every hotel, every bed and breakfast, we get invited to every opening of every restaurant, etc. But yeah, Bath's. I mean, its only criticism I used to find was that it's very complacent, and it's very easy to be complacent when you've got such a really good product. You don't have to try very hard, and that is certainly the case now. Bath's doesn't promote itself as it used to do, in my humble opinion. So that I think we used to do about 140 journalist visits a year,
right?
Where journos want to come in and actually find out about Bath. So it's always nice to find another reason to bring people in to talk about your city.
Yeah.
And again, putting on activities, that does help, that sort of that piques that interest. I always fancied, can I tell you about an event I'd love to do, and it never happened.
Please do. You've got 42 seconds to tell me.
Right. I would call it Naked Bath. There's a headliner for you.
Yeah.
And my idea was actually to remove the cars over a weekend from certain honey places. So, example, Great Pulteney Street. So you just have the cars removed round the Crescent, round the. I think the circus would be pretty easy to do because it's just you just have to turn the roundabout off, and then invite the world's press.
Okay.
And say come and see Bath and photograph Bath as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think it would be an enormous success, and it would just get people to come in and promote the city by just taking photographs of a street. Can you imagine taking a photograph of Great Pulteney Street with not
Amazing.
a single car on it? And that's where the naked bit comes from.
Yeah.
It gets people's attention.
No, I get that.
But I remember discussing it with the council, and it was kind of, highways department's not going to like this, and it's a lot of aggravation, a lot of hassle. But
it is,
and for no money, you can't charge people for doing it. But you'd get the world's press at it.
I kind of had that experience just very quickly, in that during COVID, my dance business shut down.
Sure, yeah.
And I became a delivery driver for Wiltshire Farm Foods.
Yeah.
For a year.
Yep.
And part of my round was in Bath, and in the early days, I remember driving round.
Weird.
There was nothing.
Not
just
a single car.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Now you've chosen the next track, Pure by the Lightning Seeds.
Oh, magic.
It's a great track. We're going to be back with David after the news. Another choice of my guest. David James is here. It's Richard Beauvoisin right until midday. Today, we're going to move tact, but not before. Now, we were just chatting off air about all the different things and different people, and then you started regaling stories about your time of famous people backstage. Now, let's just hang on. Let's just drop these names. Go for some of these names first of all.
Blimey. I met loads and loads of bands and artists. There's one or two memorable ones. I think I mentioned the Whitney Houston one, but Craig David was one who was an interesting guy and just very down to earth, lovely guy. I remember walking in from the green room to do a radio and TV interview, and he managed to stop every security guard, every catering staff, and just introduce himself. And just a really humble, lovely guy, and you kind of don't expect that. But equally, you get to understand that some of them are not as confident as you think they are.
No.
So that was it
is amazing.
You see them people, don't you? Think they're just incredibly gifted in everything that they do, and quite the opposite.
Well, again, I often talk about, I've mentioned many times on the show that I have the pleasure of being autistic, and I'm up on stage and people say it's the most social job in the world that I'm doing, teaching dancing. I'm like, it's really not. I'm in control of what I'm doing on stage, and I kind of go into my stage personality. And that's exactly what all these performers do.
Oh, incredible. I've seen, I won't mention the band's name, I've seen the drummer of a band up at Don Valley Stadium once, and he literally couldn't stand. He was that drunk, and he was going to perform in front of 40,000 people. and he could barely stand. And he got behind his drum, and I'm just thinking, like, this guy's going to collapse.
Yeah.
He did. I think it was a 40-minute set. They were a support band for another big band, and. How did he do that? And I think it's this stage performance that they have to put on, and it's almost like a light bulb switches on and goes, right, I've got to do this. This is what I'm trained to do. So, very different off stage when they're getting up to things that perhaps they shouldn't be doing.
And you mentioned Michael Jackson as well.
Yeah,
so where did he perform then?
Jacko, yeah.
My Mate Jacko?
Yeah, My Mate Jacko. I remember, it was up at Sheffield. I remember Prince Nassim, actually, was if you remember, the boxer from Sheffield. And he was, I knew Prince very well. And I remember getting a phone call from him. He'd come to the stadium gates with his open-top Aston Martin and pipping his horn, and the security guard didn't know what to do. So I get this phone call and saying, can we let him in? So I said, yeah, let him in. And he jumps out of his car and he goes, Dave, I want to go meet Wacko. And I said, well, first of all, it's not called Wacko. And second of all, I don't know who you think I am, but I don't know Michael Jackson. I can't get you. But I'll take you up into the hospitality suite and you can just watch the gig from there. And I was walking him up to the hospitality suite, and just so happened the chairman of Sony, who were the record company of Jackson at the time, recognised him because he was a fighter of some reputation, and he introduces himself to Prince Nassim, and Nas just turns around to him and says, "I want to meet Wacko." Oh, crikey, you can't. Anyway, so he said, "Oh, that's no problem at all. I'll take you to meet him now."
Right.
I thought, oh my God, I bet I tag along here because.
I have to just tag along to go meet Michael Jackson. Nassim had a bit of a reputation, as you can imagine, in Sheffield, as being a bit of a likely lad. So I thought I'd just make sure he behaved himself, and of course he took him and took him backstage to meet Michael Jackson, and. Jackson didn't really have a clue who he was, but he was introduced as this world-class, world-famous boxer, and Jackson took it pretty well. And in the end, Nassim watched the gig from the side of the stage, because if you put them in house seats, people come and ask for autographs, and it becomes an unsafe position. And I watched Michael Jackson write his telephone number on Nassim's hand, on the back of his hand, and said, give me a shout, and you can come to Neverland and and come and see me. And I remember seeing Nas, I don't know, about 6 months later. I said, did you ever go and see Mr. Jackson? And he was still calling him Wacko then. And he said, yeah. He went out to see him in his ranch in wherever it was. What was it called? Neverland or whatever. Some ridiculous Peter
name.
Pan's World.
But yeah, Peter Pan World. And so quite a few interesting stories. And there's just a couple that I can remember. No. I have them all.
Well, we're going to find out now about Bath City FC. You ended up being a director there.
I did, yes. When I was chief exec of the tourist board, they were looking for somebody with experience in hospitality, catering and sales. And I kind of stepped forward. I thought it'd be nice to give something back. I only got involved because they were a community team. I wasn't interested in the commercial side of sport at that time. They just, as I arrived, they just turned themselves into a community team. Owned by the fans, and I just thought that's really great. I really like that initiative. I think football should be more based and ground rooted. Loved the concept, and I thought, I'm quite happy to get involved, put some of my time into that. If I can help, I'd be delighted to help. So I had 3 years there as the director, and thoroughly enjoyed my time at Twerton Park. And great bunch of guys doing an impossible job, really.
In what way?
Well, it's an ageing ground. It doesn't cover its costs in terms of revenue generated. It's I think most clubs lose money. It's not losing a lot of money, but they'd got a plan at the time for a developer called Greenacre, which was to redevelop the stadium in return for some student accommodation. Okay. And sadly, very sadly actually, it was about £43 million worth of investment coming into Twerton. And guttingly disappointment that the council turned that down. I remember talking to the local councillor at the time. I can't remember his name now, but saying, when was the last time somebody offered Twerton £43 million of development? And it's a win-win. You get a new stadium, or at least one side of the stadium. You get the ground flattened, AstroTurf put in. Right. Far better conference facilities, etc., in return for some student accommodation, which you're building all around the city anyway. Why can't Twerton have some of that? And I think it was poorly rejected.
Yeah.
It was a bad decision, and of course Twerton remains as it is. It's an ageing stadium that is in desperate need of some investment.
Well, I remember going there because we used to be at the Bath Pavilion, which then unfortunately we couldn't stay there because they quadrupled the rent, which they did, and therefore we came out of it, which was a real shame. It was going to be about £800 for a Tuesday night for 3 hours, which I wasn't taking that. Let's just put it that far. So I actually went to Bath City to have a look at the facilities there to see if I could run a dance night there. Okay. And I have to say, it felt quite tired.
This is back
tired. In 2019, I think.
Something that was built in the 70s is not going to be fit for purpose in 2025, and hasn't been fit for purpose, in my view, for about the last 20 years. You've got to invest, and here was a developer looking to invest and looking to do a win-win for the area. It would have brought prosperity into Twerton, and the council, in my view, pitifully turned it down. You'd never please everybody with planning applications, but as I said at the time, well, if you want to turn it down, what's your plan B? What's the alternative then? You're going to leave it to rack and ruin?
So what currently is happening with Bath City then regarding this type of thing?
Not a lot. I mean, there's a new chairman in now, Nick Blowfield, who did a phenomenal job as far as I was concerned when he was chairman. He's recently left, and there's a new chap in now, and I'm sure he'll want to make his mark. Yeah. But these windows open every now and again, and we didn't take the opportunity to go through it. And yes, as far as I can see, there's not a lot of options available for the ground. I mean, there's always talk of a ground share with the rugby if that stadium gets built, and I can see the reason why you would say that. But it would have been nice for Twerton to see that investment. And the history that Bath Football Club has got there in Twerton, it's very important to the club and very important to the locals, or most of the locals, who want to see it remain in that part of the city. I'd just ask the council, and I still do now, or what's plan B? Yeah. Because I ain't seen it.
I mean, it's an amazing amount of obviously football grounds that no longer exist.
Yeah, very true.
And it's quite sad. A lot of we mentioned off air that I'm a Portsmouth football club supporter.
I won't hold it against you.
That's okay. But the ground that Portsmouth has, Fratton Park, or as it's known in Portsmouth, Fratton Park, there are no T's in Portsmouth, it's right in the centre of the city. It's an island city. Yep. It's the hub of the city in lots of ways.
As the Rec is here.
Yeah, if you are from Portsmouth, you support Portsmouth, which I do. Yeah. And again, Bath, the Rec ground is right in the centre, literally. Perfect. You cannot get it more in the centre. And again, it's the home. So I know there are plans to redevelop that taking place, and it would be lovely to think that Bath City could be enrolled in that, I suppose.
Yeah, and Bath deserves and needs two wonderful stadiums. It's a wonderful city. Why haven't we got the ambition to? Why has it taken 40 years or whatever it is to redevelop the Rec? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and you just get one person objecting to it, or in this case 3 or 4 residents, and that holds up the delay for the next 30 years. And you go, well, what about the good of the greater good? Can we see the big picture here? It's great for the city, it's great for the club, it's great for... The downside is 3 people are going to be angry. Well, so what?
That is life, isn't it? So you were there for 3 years. What made you stop?
I think I'd just believe that you do a period of time and put some effort in, and then let a new person come in with new ideas. And it was never going to be. I don't want to be a director for anything for a sort of a lifetime. I think we see that in councillors, people claiming that they've been a councillor for 25 years and proud of it. Well, I was like, let somebody else have a go. Yeah. If you've not made your impact in a decade, what are you doing staying on? Let some new ideas come in. We want new ideas, new blood. So I disrespect people that say to me, well, I've done 20 years of this, 20 years of that. Well, it's not about you. It's about the bigger picture. Yeah. And I think we all benefit from new ideas and new thinking.
Yeah. Would you ever go back?
Yeah, I'd possibly. I mean, if the timing's right. At the moment, I'm putting my effort into the old dogs, which we presume we'll talk about in a minute.
We'll literally talk about that. The segue could not be more
there's the link. Did you see that? What a pro.
Man, it's like you've done this before.
Once or twice.
So that's what we're moving on to next, isn't it?
Well, hopefully, yeah.
It is, absolutely. Now, you've chosen the next track. We've had the 70s, we've had the 80s. This is slightly different. We're going Dr. Dre now.
Oh, I love this
Why
song.
are we going Dr. Dre?
Well, I don't know. It brings out the rebel in me, and I kind of love this record. I don't know why. Why do I love it? Well, you listen to it and see if you don't engage with it.
Let's
got
find
something.
out, shall we? Here's Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg with Still Dre. Back very shortly.
Still Snoop Dogg and D.I.
Guess who's back?
Still doing that shit, Andre?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Check me out. It's still Dre Day, AK. Though I've grown a lot, can't keep it home a lot. Cause when I frequent the spots that I'm known to rock, you hear the bass from the truck when I'm on the block. Ladies, they pay homage, but haters say Dre fell off. How? My last album was The Chronic. They wanna know if he still got it. They say raps change, they wanna know how I feel about
If
it.
you ain't up on pain.
Dr. Dre is the name, I'm ahead of my game. Still puffin' my leaf, still with the beat. Still not loving police.
Love that track. That's Return of the Mac, Mark Morrison. It's Richard Beauvoisin here on Radio Bath. My guest today is David James. We've been talking about his life up north.
Hey up.
Hey up. We've talked about being Bath Tourism Chief Exec. We've talked about being in Bath City FC. If you've missed any of this, by the way, it will all be available as a podcast. Just type in Radio Bath to any podcast provider or click on the link that I'll send out hopefully later on today. But we're now moving on to a subject that you're branded with, which is old dogs.
Old dogs.
Life in the old dogs.
Yeah. I wanted to do a retirement project. I think my dad's best advice was when he retired, and he was a company managing director, and he said, "Don't go from something to nothing, because you'll be soon bored of doing the home maintenance stuff." So I thought, well, I want to do something with sport because I've always enjoyed it, and then realised that going to the gym's pretty dull. Playing golf is for old people, and really don't like golf. It's too long. A sport invented for men, because to get you out of the house for 4 hours.
And then some.
And then some. So, yeah, I thought, I wonder if there's anybody daft enough who'd still want to play a game of football. And, don't want to play against 20-year-olds because they just run rings around you. And albeit you could see it as a bit of a challenge, it gets a bit tedious after a while. And then, there might be people who'd be interested in doing rugby and basketball and other sports such as netball. I thought, well, the one thing that I can do as a marketeer, I can build a website, really easy WordPress website, bang it up, put out a few social media posts and put something up at the sports centre, see if anybody's interested. And surprise, yeah, here we are, sort of 6 years later, thriving as a little community. We're now a community interest company, so basically a poor man's charity, and offering 5 games a week in Bath for the over 50s. You've got to be over 50.
So I just about qualify.
I will check your passport.
Yeah, you feel free to check my passport. I had a big birthday party last year in Bath.
Well, don't we all?
Apparently I did. I don't remember.
You don't remember
it?
Yeah, excellent. Those are the best parties.
I made the mistake stroke fun of having a brunch.
Unlimited
brunch,
and that's a bad start to your day.
All I remember.
Yeah, that's not a good start. Getting drunk on cheap champagne or prosecco,
indeed.
Yeah.
So what type? You mentioned the different sports. Is it open to anyone over 50, men and women?
Yeah. We're gender. What's the word now? I've got to be politically correct. Gender neutral. No, we don't really care what sex you have. Just rock up. I'll be over 50. You don't have to be fit. You don't have to be good at the sport. Just come along and play. And we put you into 2 teams and just enjoy the game.
Okay. And whereabouts is taking place then?
Well, I do it in different venues. The hardest bit really is finding a venue at outdoors or indoors in Bath between Monday to Friday. Friday's probably slightly easier, but we try to do it after 6 o'clock because surprisingly a lot of over 50s are still working.
Surprisingly,
don't know what that's about. So we do basketball, netball,
Right.
2 games of football because it's incredibly popular, and then we do tag rugby. And people say, "What, rugby? What are you doing rugby for? Isn't that a little bit brutal?" And it's not. You just take a tag off somebody as a tackle. It's non-contact, so it's a little bit. Yes, you've got the movement of the ball and you play as rugby, but it's fundamentally rugby league without tackling.
Okay.
So yeah, we play that up at Coombe Down at the rugby club. They very welcome us up there and host us up there. And then the basketball we do on a Thursday night, which is tonight, up at the Bath Sports Centre.
Yeah.
And we've worked with GLL, who run the sports centre up there. Great crew. Enjoyed working with them. And they've been very helpful, so totally recommend Bath Sports Centre. Great asset for the city. Please use it. Go for a swim. And then, we use the university on a Thursday morning. We've had a game this morning. So we had, I think, 18 guys playing this morning up at the university on a Thursday. Mainly the retired people or people.
Is this football? Is it?
This is football,
right?
Yeah. And then we do netball on a Tuesday night at Newbridge Primary School.
Okay.
So we have each of the sports has probably got about 50, 60 players registered, and we're looking for at least 10 to turn out so that you've got a team. You need at least 10 to play. It's been going very well, and numbers continue to grow. And surprisingly, I guess the bit that surprised me, it's not just rocking up and playing your basketball or your netball or your football. It's meeting a bunch of people that are like-minded, and getting to know those people is a bit of a social event, and then having a social network to either go to the boozer with or meet for coffee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's become very much dominated that side of it other than the sports side, which surprised me.
Well, we were talking off air about the fact that my dance community socially helps a lot of people. I know for a lot of men between 40 and 60, suicide is one of the highest things that affects everybody. And sports clubs like yourself, I'm guessing, must help a lot in that.
Yeah, it brings people together, sport, and you can be going through an awful time, but if you've got something to look forward to, and this is what people tell me, they might be thinking, well, Thursday night, 5:30, it's the highlight of my week, because I get to come out of a job I'm not particularly enjoy doing, or whatever my circumstances are, and just for an hour I can do a sport that I used to do at school, or I used to thrive on, or just lose myself in actually a team event, because it's very different playing a game of tennis or playing a game of badminton or going to the gym or going swimming as you do, in a very individual sort of sports in that respect. When you join a team, you get that sort of camaraderie, you get that banter, you get that sort of element of Mickey taking, as I'm trying to be as polite as I can here, guys.
I knew what you meant.
There's other words, isn't there, that we can use. But yeah, fundamentally, I think there's a big difference between being part of a group, as you will find with your dance lessons.
Yeah.
You feel part of a community. And that's what team sports do as against individual sports. You can go and have a go around a golf for 4 hours and play, maybe in a 4-ball is the most you're ever going to play in. And it's never going to be the same as playing in a team and wanting to win in that team. And we're all competitive, no matter what the age.
Now, let's just make the assumption that I am 50, which I am, and I want to come along. I have a concern, because
right.
I need my body for my job. Okay. And the reason I stopped playing proper football many years ago, in my early 30s, is because there were some right plonkers around that used to kick me up in the air, and I couldn't walk for 3 days. And yes, they'd get a yellow card, but it would have a major impact on me and my work. What's the concern? How is it going to work with you guys?
I think we bridge nicely between the walking sports, and interestingly, if you go up and watch walking sports, behind the referee's back, most people are running, or at least trying to run. And then you've got, on the other side of that, you've got what's called veteran sports or master sports up to the age of 40, and they will be kicking you because it's very competitive. It's still, they're acting like 20-year-olds, but they are 40, so that's incredibly dangerous at that level. Very committed and angry, as I call them, angry players. So we bridge that gap. We're neither that sort of level of fitness, and we're neither that angry, and we're not walking. People want to run.
You can still run.
And so it bridges the gap very nicely between not constantly walking and not running around like a lunatic. So the ethos that I've tried to bring to the games is that I don't tolerate bad language. If anybody starts swearing, I'll ask them to leave, or somebody in the team will ask them to leave, and it just doesn't happen because we don't endear that sort of that sort of attitude. And if anybody's going to kick anybody, they won't be playing next week. They'll be asked to leave. And if anybody falls over, which arguably it's not contact sport, but you are going to put yourself in some sort of
course.
potential element of falling over, then we stop the game and make sure everybody's fine. So it's played in that spirit of sort of, God, we're lucky to be still kicking a ball. I mean, I'm 65 now, and it's still great to be playing a game of football. And we can, if we want to, we can play, if you like, at an elite level. I think I mentioned to you, we played the England over 60s last week. 2 weeks ago now, and it's the third time we've played them, and they're always looking for games because it's hard to get a game of everybody that's over 50. And so we can compete at that level, and interestingly, we beat them for the first time.
Congratulations!
So we play at that high level, and then at the other end, we can just have a kick about, and people that haven't played for 30 years come along and can't trap a ball, can't run as fast as they used to, but with an element of a little bit of, you get used to the skill, then you get used to it. And I think basketball's probably the best example, and netball, where if you've not thrown a ball into the net, then you're going to be a bit rusty. But it's incredibly interesting to watch how quickly you pick it back up, particularly if you used to play it at school. Now,
you mentioned Thursday mornings for football, but you mentioned there's 2 games a week. Where would the other game be then?
We play at St John's School, which is in Bath, and it's just a small AstroTurf pitch that we hire from them. It's up near the Moorland Arms pub. Okay. So we play up there on a Wednesday night. So that happened last night, and then we're up at the university this morning, and then this evening at the Bath Sports Centre.
Now, I know, because I play football on a Wednesday as well already in a sports hall, and it varies the age of people from kind of mid-20s to mid-70s.
Wow.
And generally what we have is there's 5 aside, and generally what happens is by the end of that, out of the 10 players that started fit, there's not necessarily 10 players that end up fit, and it's like fighting to see who goes in goal for the last 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, before every game we do a warm-up. And we don't want pulled hamstring. Typically, you'll pull your hamstring or pull your calf if you've not done that, because you're taking off, you're exploding. And so we try and do a warm up, and then we do a bit of stretching to try and alleviate that, because that is going to happen. So there's an element of self management. A lot of the guys will come to the game and they'll cycle up or they'll run up. We have several players that will run up to the game just to loosen up and get warmed. So you can't go onto a pitch and immediately do what you did when you were 16 and expect your body to last. So we would always be restrained in that respect, and we're not. We're not Olympic sprinters anymore. It tends to be a little bit more of it's certainly not a walk, but it's certainly not an Olympic sprint. So we do get injuries. Who wouldn't? I'd be absolutely lying if I said that nobody ever got injured. But on the whole I think we have about 100 guys a week now. Oh, I've rudely forgot to mention we've got a running club. Oh. And my runners are going to kill me.
Because you love running.
I don't love running, but there are people that do, and we have an over 50s running club, and that's really well organised. There's lots of different runs that our running leader sorts out. So but the main thing is you go at your own pace, and if you want to run or if you want to try a sprint, you go for it if you're feeling in that frame of mind. But it's just nice to be playing that sport that you enjoyed as a teenager, and we love team sports.
Absolutely. Now, if anybody did want to join in, how would they get in contact?
Yeah, well, as usual, go to the website, and it's if you just Google Life in the Old Dogs, it's lifeintheolddogs.com, but you'll see the games on there. You book in through, it's a piece of software we use called Spond, which is basically a free app you download, which takes you book in through there, and it takes a payment. We charge £5 for a game.
Yep.
Basketball's slightly more because we've got bigger overheads, the whole of the sports hall. But generally it's not about earning money, it's about covering the cost and engaging with people and bringing people a bit of a smile on the face while they're playing the game, and afterwards, certainly in the coffee bar afterwards.
Always in the pub. Going to be back with a quick fire round with David right after this.
Maximum joy.
We're back now for the last part. Charlotte's just popped in with her dogs. I think it scared the living daylights out of David then.
Talk about an old dog. I thought there were two young ones there.
There
What's
you
going
go.
on?
Now, just off air, very briefly, you were talking about the fact that you are the Citizen of the Year for Bath.
No, did I not mention it?
You've not mentioned it. We got to the very last link.
Oh, no.
And now you're mentioning it.
Somebody kindly nominated me for all the work that I've done setting up the old dogs, and I got a surprise phone call from the Mayor's office about a month ago saying, would you come up, the Mayor wants to present you with this award. So apparently I'm Citizen of the Year in Bath this year for 2025.
So
How did that happen?
You are the best person in Bath this year.
Well, I'd certainly never say that. But I don't know how I got voted into it. I guess the Mayor takes a look at the nominations and thought, this sad guy needs some support. So here you go, have a trophy.
Well,
or a certificate, should I say.
You are doing great things, and obviously that gives you a huge amount of, you get loads in Bath for surely
I get the keys to the city, apparently.
What does that mean?
I don't know. No, but I can't even get the lads to buy me a drink, let alone getting something out of the Mayor.
It's always a tricky one. Obviously, Lorraine is an ex-mayor of Bath, who is one of the founders of the station. Absolutely. So if she'd have been mayor, you'd have got more.
I'd love Lorraine. If you're listening, Lorraine, see you soon.
Yeah, she's an amazing person. Right, indeed. Quick fire time then. So 11 random questions. You don't know what these questions are. And they start off very simple, get slightly deeper as they go along. I'm not even told you the first one, so let's go for it. Favourite ice cream?
Just vanilla.
You're a vanilla person.
Yeah, that'd be mine for strangely. Yeah, I know that's boring, isn't it? I should have said chocolate, but no, I much prefer that.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with vanilla. Are you tidy or messy?
Tidy.
You are a tidy person. Why are you a tidy person?
My wife makes sure I'm tidy.
Okay.
I'm definitely. I think if it was down to me, I'd be a little bit messy, but yeah.
Love or hate roller coasters?
Yeah, I used to work at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Did you?
Yeah, that's another. Okay. I did that as a my year out of industry. I did a sandwich course and I spent a year at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Right.
So we had the world record guy that came and did the most number of hours on a roller coaster. And I was working in the catering department, so every morning I'd sit on the roller coaster for about half an hour with him and decide what he wanted for breakfast. Right. And I used to sit on there and have breakfast, would you believe it, on the Big Dipper in the Blackpool, yeah. So roller coasters are very much, been in my life, and I love them.
So you love them. Fabulous.
I do, oh yeah.
I haven't been, I've been to Blackpool recently, I went there last year, but unfortunately it was for a dance event, so we didn't quite get to go to the Pleasure Beach at all.
Well, go for it. I've had my breakfast on the road many times, actually.
You've had your
lunch, yeah, just to keep. He was called Richard Rodriguez, and you can probably look him up, but he was the world champion roller coaster rider from the States.
There's all those I remember seeing those videos of people trying to take drinks and stuff on it and shaking all over it. It was like going all over them and the people behind them. And
we put a lid on.
I was going to say, what did you have for lunch? It wasn't a liquid
bacon
lunch.
Butty.
Important question now. Do you hang your toilet roll over the top or behind the back?
Oh, God, I have no idea.
You have no idea?
I wouldn't even know how to... God, thinking about that one. Where did you get that question from?
Do you know what? It's the question that creates the most amount of controversy.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed... Hang on, let me just drop this name.
Go on.
Russell Watson.
Well, there you go.
And for 5 minutes he went on about this. He was very passionate about...
Russell needs to get out more.
And he was a northerner, and he was very, very passionate about that you hang it over the top, you see.
Right.
And I asked him, would you, if you went to somebody else's house, round the other way, would you change? He's like, absolutely he would. And he does.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah.
Oh, no.
But you don't know.
Not bothered. Not bothered.
You're not bothered. Fair enough. Do you eat... You've brought some chocolate today. Do you eat your chocolate from the fridge or from the cupboard?
From the cupboard.
You're a cupboard person, are you?
Yeah,
why is that then? Why not the fridge?
My dad used to work for Cadbury's, so we had chocolate, and he was a sales director, and we had chocolate in our house every day. So he used to put it in the fridge, actually. But to me, it was too cold. So.
Yeah.
But I was brought up on chocolate, and luckily my waistline is reasonable. I think when you're confronted with it, you probably have less of it. Because it's just in your face all the time.
Yeah.
So that, luckily for me, it was something that I could just do without. Maybe growing up with boxes of chocolate in the... our garage was broken into one year when I was at home, and they didn't take the car or my motorbike. They took the chocolate.
Okay.
They must have watched us loading them up. Anyway.
So you're a cupboard person.
Definitely a cupboard chocolate man. Yeah.
I'm still proud of myself and the fact that I have resisted, because you've offered me donuts and chocolate.
Thorntons,
I know, and it all looks really, and I like all of that stuff, but I'm trying to be reasonably good at the moment. I'm judging at the weekend.
I'm impressed. Yeah, you've resisted. I brought donuts as well. You've not had one of those.
I've not had one of those.
I've eaten 6 of them so far.
Yeah, you're doing very well. Doing very well. Do you make your bed in the morning?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Why do you make your bed in the morning?
I don't know. I just.
It's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah, I'm back to being a bit tidy, and we made it this morning. My wife's in Lyme Regis at the minute, so I've had to make my own bed.
Oh,
so
man.
There you go. But I do make it. Yeah.
So my follow-up question is always: apart from the pillows, are there any extra cushions on your bed?
I'm married, of course there are. The only thing I'm not surprised is there's candles in the room, but no. There is at least 2 cushions that go onto the
Okay.
Yeah.
Now my follow-up question then is: you are currently living by yourself, effectively. Do the cushions still go on and off the bed?
Yeah, no, she's back tonight. She's back this afternoon, so
Okay.
I've had to put the cushions on. But I think if I was living on my own, the cushions would be resided to the lounge.
Yeah, it's definitely a female thing. What is your favourite breakfast?
The full English.
You're a full English person.
Definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't. In fact, I've not had breakfast for about 5 years. I don't eat. I brought donuts in this morning, but I don't normally have breakfast. But when I do, then I would go and smash bacon and eggs and have that. Having said that, one of my am I allowed to plug it?
You can plug anything.
Okay, so my go-to place for a breakfast in Bath would be Green Street Butchers.
Okay,
and they do the best bacon and egg sort of muffin with a coffee. If you've not been, guys, go there. It's fantastic.
You need to go there.
Oh, amazing.
Brilliant. If you had to do it, what is your go-to karaoke song?
I got forced doing it once in Copenhagen, which was the ABBA. What song was it? Dancing Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I think I cleared the pub.
So how did it sound?
Dreadful. There's one thing you won't want me doing, or your listeners won't want me doing, is singing Dancing Queen by ABBA, because I'll probably clear everybody out.
So you're not a fan of singing then?
I quite like watching somebody do it, but I'm not going to be singing The Eye of the Tiger for any time soon.
Are you not?
No,
I genuinely feel disappointed, but at the same time quite happy.
Yeah, my talents don't go that far.
That's all right. Favourite TV programme or film?
Favourite TV programme? God, strangely, I don't watch TV.
Do you not?
No, I'll watch a Netflix box set, but I don't watch any TV.
Well, that's kind of, we actually had that moment the other day when we were kind of sitting down as a family going, what shall we watch? And we have Netflix and variety things.
Yeah.
And my wife turned around and said, should we see what's on normal TV?
Yeah.
And then we looked for about 20 seconds and went, let's go back to Netflix or wherever it may be.
And it does take you back to the 70s or 80s where you'd watch a sort of, I don't know, whether it was Morecambe and Wise or whatever, you'd look forward to that on a Friday night or whatever, and there were go-to, Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
What's that one, the grave guy? One Foot in the Grave.
One Foot in the Grave, yeah.
I mean, there were certain shows that would just make you laugh, and we just don't have those anymore. And I know I'm sounding like an old fart now, but fundamentally, I don't think humour is what it used to be. And maybe we have to be too politically correct these days to allow that sort of humour to come out. But whether it was the Goodies or whether it was Monty Python's, there were some really good TV programmes that I don't think we get now.
There were indeed. 2 questions to go then. If you came back in your next life as an animal, which one would you be and why?
I'd probably be a horse.
A horse? Okay,
yeah.
Tell me why a horse.
Oh, I'd want to be going on the Grand National or something.
Okay.
My wife's farmer's background, and she's had horses and has had a racehorse, funny enough. I think horses are pretty spectacular.
Brilliant answer. I don't think I've ever had a horse. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
That's nice. Go
and have a ride on a horse.
And my daughter's massively into horses, as is my wife.
Expensive habits.
Let's not go there. And your last question then, David. Where is your happy place?
By the seaside, I think, where most people's are. We go down to Lyme Regis an awful lot, really. And I think you become more mellow, and you just it's looking at the ocean and everything about it. It makes you more chilled, and I think slows life down a bit. and particularly places like Lyme Regis, which is very old school. It's very, it probably looked like that in the 60s.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed an awful lot. So there's something really sort of wholesome about that it's not that commercial, and at the same time you've got that wonderful sort of sea view, and it's just a nice place to be. So that would be my go-to place.
Lovely. Hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you
it's
so
been brilliant.
much.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right, my pleasure. And remind everybody, if they did want to get in contact with the Old Dogs, how they could do it.
Yeah, just Google the website, and it's Life in the Old Dogs. Come and join one of the sports. Would love to see you.
Brilliant. Charlotte is up next. I'm back next week between 10 and 12. Can't wait to see you then. Have a great week.
You know I'm impatient, so why would you leave me waiting outside the station when it was like -4 degrees? And I get what you're saying. I just really don't want to hear it right now. Can you shut up for like once in your life? Listen to me. I took your nice words of advice about how you think I'm gonna die lucky if I turn 33. Okay, so yeah, I smoke like a chimney. I'm not skinny and I pull a Britney every other week.